with the theme for today's session being education and technology. I'm going to be speaking more on the education front initially, right? And okay, so this is the outline that I have for today's session, where we'll start with education, the core, the theme of why we all are here today, and then set the context for the rural education, the model of eVidyaloka, the journey, the current problem statement, the evolved program, and the design of the program and the usage of the platform. Right? Moving on, I wanted to check with a few of you, maybe a 30-second activity. If you could tell me what comes to your mind when you think about education. If maybe one or two of you could share the first word that comes to your mind when you think about education.
Sharing knowledge.
Okay. One more. Knowledge. Okay. So, thank you. Yes. These are some of the words that keep coming in at the top of our mind when we think about education, right? And there are a lot of clouds.
There are words in the chat also, like learning, quality education.
Thank you. Yes, yes. And all of this put together today, I know we are a couple of us in the session today, but more often when there are a lot of these thoughts that keep coming in, we make a word cloud, right? So for education, this is one of the word clouds which I took in because it came with a Blackboard background. So I resonated a lot with this. So here, there are a lot of different words that come in: research, success, dreams, leadership, intelligence, etc. What would education mean for the young children, and especially from the rural setup, right? The rural background. What would it mean for them? That's something that has been in our mind for many, many years now. That what does it mean for them to have education, access to education? And for that, I have a short video, not more than 30 seconds.
I am reminded of Mahakavi Subramany Bharati's famous words, Veedudorum, Kalayin Vilakkum, Geedidorum, Yerandoru Palli. Let there be the light of art at every home. May we have a couple of schools in every street.
Freedom to learn any subject, learn it in my own time and learn it at my own pace.
Freedom to learn मतलब आपको आजादी है कुछ भी सीखने की, आपको आजादी है कुछ भी पढ़ने की, और आजादी है हर सवाल के जवाब पाने की. इसका मतलब है कि किसी भी चीज को सीखने की आजादी enables children to explore and make sense and develop their creativity and imagination.
Freedom to learn essentially is where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, where knowledge is free.
To give someone a boarding pass to fly into his or her dreams.
Freedom to learning, to me, is all about asking questions, equal opportunities, greater access to technology, preparing students for 21st century skills.
जहाँ जाके पढ़ाई करना चाहे, हमें उस पर पूरी स्वतंत्रता देनी चाहिए.
So this was a glimpse of what education means for different people. Moving on, you would see the government schools in this kind of a setup, right? This is one of the government schools in Jharkhand where we run our program. And you would see the children in such schools where they do not even have the basic facilities, no benches, no desks, no fans. What would education mean for them? That's the problem that we have always been thinking upon. You would all know about the education context in the rural space, right? We keep listening, hearing about it, reading about it in different reports in the newspapers as well, that 90% of our student population is studying in government schools in villages, a whopping 300 million. And half of them are always about to drop out in the upper primary section because they don't understand what is addition. They don't know how to read a simple English text. So they feel this is not my cup of tea. And it's not their mistake entirely, right? You have schools in the villages where you have a high enrollment thanks to the midday meal program. but you would have just one HM, one para teacher, one other school teacher to take care of all of them. Would any of you know the shortage of teachers that we have today in our country? Any guesses? One or two maybe, either on the chat or here? If it's on the chat, I wouldn't be able to see if someone else could spell it out, please. A rough, yeah, any number that comes to your mind.
It's like 1:20 ratio.
That's the ratio where you would need a teacher to take care of 20 students, right? So if I say I have got 300 million children, what would be the shortage? So I'm not giving an anchoring figure over here, and I'll quickly show it's 1.2 million teachers are in shortage in our country, in the education space, in rural India, in our Bharat. And that's what made us think that we are so many of us who are educated, literate, who are passionate about doing something for our own country. How can we leverage this power of citizens of our country to address this problem? And that's the eVidyaloka model, operating model through the help of platform. So it's as simple as how you and I are connected today. You would have a volunteer teacher who is passionate to do something for his roots, but may not know how to go and do it because he's located somewhere else. But because of the platform, he's able to seamlessly come in, get onboarded, know what he needs to teach, who he needs to teach, creates a timetable for himself with the school, and starts teaching. At the school side, it's as simple as this. You switch on your TV, you connect to your internet connection, get on a Skype call, on a WebEx call, on a Google. But for them, the children do not know how to operate a computer system. That's where our pillar comes here, the local partner. All of our programs, wherever we have been across the different districts in different states, is all thanks to the partnership that we have with various other NGOs. And through them, we have been able to enable offering this technology platform to connect the teachers with the children and enable continued learning, quality learning for all of them. I am not delving more in detail into this model in the interest of time, of course. But to give a summary, we have been in this education space, edtech space for a decade now, and we continue to work on our vision to create a knowledgeable and empowered rural India. The theme for us is rural India through quality education. And this is done in partnership with government and the other local leaders, local communities, and we leverage technology, the platforms to empower the ecosystem for learning. The journey. And this is something that I'm talking about of the pre-pandemic period, right? We have been delivering classes in the school premises for the last 8 to 9 years. And we have been able to deliver it in over 245 villages across 11 states with the help and support of 2,400 plus volunteer teachers. And we have been able to deliver 11 crore child learning hours. And this has been the journey for all of us to not rejoice, but think that we have only come this far and there's so much more to do. And that's when the pandemic hit. It's spine chilling for us to even think about those days. The one and only available space where the children could come in and learn was the school building, and that was shut. There was no other mode of learning for the children that was available. The parents did not know anything. What do we do? And that became the real problem statement that we wanted to work towards. We already knew that there was lack of access to quality teachers. We already knew that there was lack of reach to the desiring learners. On top of that, we got to know that there was also lack of learning content availability in the vernacular languages for the children. There have been a lot of contents that have been disseminated in the last 2 years, but we realized that that's not what the children want. And we were thinking on how do we now address this challenge which has come in, because the pandemic was here to stay and we could not wait until this pandemic goes away, because the children every day, they are losing out on the learning. And I'll show a brief video on how it is that we addressed it in the first 1.5 months when the pandemic was confirmed last March. Yeah. So we came up with the idea of learn from home, and that's where we evolved our program and we called it the digital school program, having an online school, an online campus for each and every village, where the children could enable access to the content which are available in the ready to consume format in the vernacular languages. They can access all of these contents even if they are in the rural and the remote areas, and they can connect with the passionate volunteer teachers, continue to connect with them and learn from them through interactions. What we realized is that there were many others who were disseminating content through various modes, but it was all unidirectional. How do we confirm that the child has learned something? How do we confirm that the child knows what he's going through, and if he has a question, can come up and ask someone else about it? So the interaction is something that has been the key in driving this learning program, the continued learning program as we call it, so that the children do not even think about dropping out of school whenever the schools reopen for them. So the digital school program, we basically then worked it out in two models. One, for the students who had access to smartphones, either through their parents or siblings, if they can get the smartphone for a couple of hours a week. And then in the comfort of their homes, they will have the flexibility to learn, because these are all video sessions. The videos have been recorded and curated by our own volunteer teachers, so they know the pace at which it needs to be taught, in what format it needs to be taught. And if they have any questions, they ask it to the teacher during the live interactive doubt solving session. Now, what about the students who don't have access to digital devices? Or they may have a digital device in their household, but no internet access. So for them, again, our pillar of support, the local partners, the local leaders, they come in, they identify such students and they assemble them in a common location. Most of the times it's under the tree, because there's no other office available for them in the village. And then they broadcast these video sessions on their devices and also connect them to the live teacher for the doubt solving session. The learning does not happen only through these two things. So the continuity in learning happens through three other modes, which I have showed here, where you have places where the households may not have a smartphone device, but they definitely will have a TV. Every household has a TV these days. So if they have a local cable channel that's operating there, then we disseminate our video sessions, the same videos which are available for going through in the self-learning model or the facilitated model are also broadcasted on the cable channel, which the children can view. The second is through the workbooks. Now, the parents, they don't understand online learning. They want to see their child, if it's learning, it has to be something with pen and paper, right? That's how we all have also learned in our younger days. So we offer them workbooks with worksheets, so that after they go through the video sessions, they can start practicing on the questions given. And if they are unable to solve it, they come back in the live session, the doubt solving sessions, and ask that to a volunteer teacher. So this way the learning continues to happen. They watch something, They perform an activity or solve the worksheets, and then they have an interactive session. If I were to summarize it as a program design on what are those different aspects of the model, it's the same that I had shown earlier. It's a self-learning model, the facilitated learning model, the doubt-solving sessions that happen in both of these learning models, the workbook with the worksheet that are distributed to the children, and the practice that happens on the worksheets. Giving a few snippets of images on how does it happen. So here you see a boy who's learning on a terrace through the self-learning model. He has a smartphone. This is a school premise, residential school actually, where the children, they do not have anywhere else to go. So they continue to stay in the hostels and they were taught on the projector screen in the premise itself. Here you would have a facilitator. This is a facilitated learning model again, where this girl has her phone where a live teacher is connected. The children are listening to her and asking the questions from both the textbook and the notes. You would have the children who have been given the worksheets with the workbook folder. So the workbook folder is very colorful and bright. It makes the children feel like opening it up and doing something in the papers there. So that was the main philosophy behind it. And the papers that are given there, the children sit together and practice them. How does this all happen, right? So this learning, the self-learning model or the facilitated learning model, it all happens through our learning app, the eVidyaloka learning app. And that's where the technology is coming in. So till now, I have been speaking more about the education aspect. And now I'm coming into the platform aspect. How do we make it happen, right? And again, because this is catered to the rural community, to the children who are in those villages, we do not have this app on the Apple iStore. It's only on the Google Play Store available for the Android phones. And there are different features in this on who all can access this app. How does the learning happen? This is just a screenshot of a couple of these pages from the app itself. But I have another video, maybe about a minute long, that will show you on what are those different features of the app. Playing. And that's all that I had to share today in the eVidyaloka journey. It will continue to achieve our mission to reach all the children in all the different villages of all districts, all states, from Kashmir till Kanyakumari and from Gujarat till the Northeast. And I thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. In case any of you would want to know a bit more about this program, I know I have not given justice to explain each and everything in detail, but please feel free to reach out to us, write to us, and we'll be happy to explain more and see if there is a community that you know about where you feel that this program can enable few more children to learn. We'll be very happy to do that, and it's the service that we are doing it together. Thank you so much from all the children. Thank you.